Quick, you've heard the name Don Tierney. Well, I can show you the man in the flesh. Don, you want to stand up and say hello quick?
Hello everybody, good to see you.
Well, that was quick. So anyway, Don, they all saw what you've done and what you're hoping to do. So I did mention 1855, so that we're gonna get something like that here, right?
Committed you to a restaurant.
I've been accused of owning part of that because I'm there quite a bit, see. I'm buying it one little meal at a time.
All right, so I'm glad you could join us, Don. If you're able to hang out a little bit and folks want to poke around with you, that'd be great. Rex from Rex's Innkeeper and Belinda are here. I want to thank them for setting this up and serving us today, so let's give them a hand. Stephen Beckler is my intern up at Village Hall. Stephen is someone maybe you worked with when you got registered for this thing. But what he's been doing while we're on the bus gabbing, he's running from site to site to reset up the camera, reset up the computer, and he deserves a beer very shortly. So we'll get that to him. Thanks, Stephen. And last but not least, I want to introduce the village president. I'm very glad he could join us. John Laubmeyer in the back of the room. John, do you want to say a couple words?
All I want to say is thank you very much for coming. The weather is always like this in Waunakee, so we would like to see you here more often, all right?
Good. Thanks, John. Glad you could stop in. John's a teacher at Waunakee High School, so making the earlier time didn't work for him, and he's very committed. How many times have you missed, due to your presidential duties, a class?
I think twice.
Twice in your career as village
I promise
official.
with you too. It's worth my problem. I teach economics and history, and we're very proud of our school system as well as we're proud of this whole community. And we got a lot of good things going on out here, and I hope that you notice that today when you're on your tour. And I think it's only just ready to explode to get even better.
Good. Thanks, John. Anybody that I missed that I was supposed to introduce? Did I miss anyone, Stephen?
Amy?
Oh, Amy, I guess I should thank Key Commercial again. The broker's here for this property, but they helped us set up this as our final stop and location, so we appreciate that. I'll again mention that Lamers donated the coach, and BMO Harris Bank donated funds to help make this event happen for us today. So let's talk briefly about some industrial opportunities. I believe these maps are in your packet, so I don't think I need to spend a ton of time on them, but this shows the existing industrial development, the early phase of the business park that we've already gone through, largely developed. Arboretum Office Park, again, which is about half full at this point. And again, the future phase of development on the opposite side of Hogan Road, where you saw that orchard, other side of the ice rink. And this, which I believe is also in your packet, right, identifies the particular owners or the particular users throughout our existing park. You've seen this as well. This is the updated version that shows the current conditions within the business park. I already introduced Chuck from MLG. And again, you have this map too showing the sites and lots within Arboretum Office Park. So briefly chatting about the development process in Waunakee, which we like to say is a lot easier than perhaps most communities, definitely the city of Madison that perhaps you've worked in. In a project that would involve some complexity, in particular a conditional use permit or a rezoning or something that ends up going through a process that requires public hearing, all things working to their best possible conditions, we can run that through up in about a month and a half. And that's the process. As far as working through details, dotting I's and T's, we do that not in front of the Plan Commission, not in front of the village board, but at a staff level, together working with Kevin Even, myself, and the rest of the village team in a small room. Some of you, I know, have actually been in that room with us, talking through projects and coming up with ways that we can have it an easy sell by the time it gets in front of the key decision makers. So we try really hard to make that easy for you. As far as development incentives, our key tool that we have is TIF. And development deals as recently as last year, and the deals for Madison and Maine, that downtown development, have included either the village giving land for $1 in exchange for promises on a value guarantee for a new development, or in the business park, take Tormac as an example, the village granted them X number of dollars as a pay-as-you-go repayment program for them achieving a particular value. So we don't have a subscribed formula. It's really, if someone calls and said, what can I get if I do this in Wanakee, I can't plop down the equation and say, here's how it works out. The village board likes to take it on a case-by-case basis based on the merits of the project and where they're able within a TIF mechanism to accomplish an incentive to support that project, they have shown an eagerness to do so. So we are open to that. We do have a CDA and a lesser used ability, it's a lesser used tool, but if conduit financing is something that'd be necessary for a very large project, we have the CDA capabilities to accomplish that. And we certainly have access and connections with the county and the state level programs that are available to all sorts of different projects. So I already talked about the project development and approval process briefly. But we've got some tools online. Again, these are some links that'll be in what I put up on the website. But I want to talk specifically about how you can get to this information electronically. The Wanakee Portal is a website that we coordinated with the local Chamber of Commerce, the local school district. It includes economic development, village services, and even an Ask Anything button. And we could spend a couple hours talking about the interesting stuff that we get asked. We get some doozies, and I'm not sure everybody is fully sober when they use it, to tell you the truth. But that, by clicking on economic development, will take you to our economic development page. And then what I'd point out here is that you can click on available properties for a database to many of the properties we talked about today and more. Just above that is detail on our development process, and we have a development guide that lays out each, in just one page, lays out the process for all the different types of approvals that you might need. Whether it's something as simple as a sign permit to conditional use permit, fences, driveways, site plans. The development process lays out step by step each of those different potential application procedures you might need to go through. Whew. All right. Unless you have if you have questions, I'm not done talking. So I'm happy to answer any questions now and hopefully quickly get back to an opportunity for you guys just to mingle and connect and certainly talk to me offline as well. So, any questions? Any statements?
When did you say the apartment's starting on Main Street?
They're looking to start by the end of October. So both projects, in fact, are looking at October for start.
And is that Newell Gallery staying, or it's just everything on the other side of there?
It's
Gonna be the
Newell
apartments?
Gallery is staying. Yep. It's not quite, if you've seen that movie Up, you know, where they are building around that one little house. It's not quite like that. Certainly you've got the 3-story on one side right up to the street, but the cottages on Main project on the other side is actually set back similar to the facade placement of Newell Gallery. So it's not kind of this jetted in little odd development. And it's a neat property in its own right, so we're glad it's staying. Yes, Don?
I just want to make a little statement. We sort of have, we're like football coach, you have, remember Woody Hayes, 5 yards and a cloud of dust, and you had the California offense where it's a whole different deal. Just a little something on our group of people, my family. You really never see a lot of big articles in paper. Sometimes people like to, you know, they really like to get this thing going. What we like to do is build it, and when it's done, and then basically have people come and see it. One of the things we're working on right now is, we got the parade of homes in both of the Wanakee sites. It meant a lot to us. The Kilkenny Farms, my grandfather came out of here in the potato famine in 1848 out of Kilkenny, Ireland. And it's kind of neat because he was there until 1908, and he gave that over 300 acres to 2 of his sons, and my grandfather actually got 40 acres, and he grew it to 200 acres. And Carl F. Stotts and Sons people, that would have been Anthony Stotts. Those 2 guys that got the big piece of land, they were gone in 5 years. They went to the Dakotas. If you ever seen that movie, The Dust Bowl, you know, they thought they were going to hit it big in the West. And but at any rate, in 5 years later, Anthony Stotts bought it, and that's the father of Carl F. And basically that was in 1913. That was 100 years ago. And I don't know if you noticed it or not, but he ordered that one barn, the one white one, we're taking that down. And we're gonna have the beams, so when we have a big building, you'll actually walk in and you'll see those same beams. And, so that's kinda neat. And then we're trying to save that old house, so far we are. It was built in 1879, and, it's kinda neat. What we wanna have are trails that'll actually come out of Southbridge. There's a park system where you have the original Castle Creek, the bolts, the beautiful view. I don't know if you got up there today, but it's a tremendous view. And that trail system will then go down to the parks in Southbridge, and then those trails will go to the new Kilkenny Farms area. So it's kind of a neat thing, and I don't like to say too much. I'd rather do it, try to perform and do more than I say I'm gonna do, but keep an eye on it. It's some beautiful, beautiful areas in there.
And when it comes to doing, when you look at where we were here, we talked about this earlier, right, the demographics, where we were here in 1990 and where we are here today. Well, you're looking at a guy who's in a big way responsible for that, and the village has established a good relationship with Don, and we look forward to continuing that as we head towards a number like that in 2035. But if you could, remember that we are in fact just north of Madison. When you're talking to your clients, make no bones about it, we are in the heart of it, and we can play with every other community in Dane County. So I appreciate your time for coming today. I'll be, Chuck?
One more. If you could write the script, what's your vision for the Coltis lumber property?
I think we should call Coltis Lumber the Wanakee Sprout Yard and create a brewery incubator site and bring in brewers from across the country to perfect their craft in residence with an outdoor beer garden, and then have them sprout off to develop their own breweries in other places, and then have them filter in with new brewers. But if I had $1 million or more, that would be what be happening, but I don't. So what do you guys think should go in there?
Grocery store.
Grocer?
Yep. It's a perfect spot for a large grocery store in the middle of town. I don't know if you have the parking around it, but
One of the big challenges to the Coltis site is it only has access on Main Street. And like I talked about, 2 highways in one, and peak hours, making specifically left maneuvers out of Coltis is really, really tricky. We had talked about it as a potential library site even, and we know that we want to be pulling 200 to 250 kids for an event. Well, when you've got 200 to 250 kids, the thought of that mass, we just look at that site and again say, man, it's a tough situation in terms of access. But grocer is a possibility, sure. Other ideas?
You know, Todd, I looked at those 2 small houses. One is owned by Joel Coltis's grandson. Those houses aren't worth a whole lot of money. And so that could be another access.
Off the back, it's just a series of 1 or 2 residential parcels with older homes to connect to Madison Avenue.
Right.
Off of the back corner, back by the sheds behind the property. So, it could be done, definitely could be done. John, I saw you had,
Yeah, I just want to make a general comment before you all leave us. Todd pointed out that the village board here in Waunakee has shown a record of being willing to work with people, and I would like to really emphasize that. There's 7 members of the board. 6 of them are either employed in or are in the private sector or have been business owners. Just to give you an example, one you probably know, Sue Springman. We are so incredibly lucky to have a person of that competence to serve on the village board with us and give us advice. For years, Kevin Eben has been given the job of making sure that we expedite things as quickly and as easily as possible. There's not red tape here like you will get in some communities. We went out and we hired Todd as an economic development director for us and made a commitment that we're going to pay a very good salary for somebody who is, that's going to be his job, is to see to it that Waunakee is on the map for economic development. We have spent a lot of time working to improve our relations with the chamber, and I think we have an excellent relationship with the chamber. And Ellen just does a wonderful job, and we are so proud that we can work with her. we really have purposely gone about trying to create win-win deals for the public sector and for the private sector. And I hope that we can continue to do that, and we have numerous win-win deals that we've already done, and we're looking to continue to do that.
Good closing word. Thank you, John. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take your time. I'll be hanging around. Some of us from the village, Kevin, John, I suppose, will be hanging around if you have other questions.